Fleetwood Mac, with songs like Dreams, The Chain, Landslide, and Rhiannon, it's no wonder why this band has been a favorite to millions of listeners. Today, we're going to show you 10 very interesting facts about the band Fleetwood Mac. Let's get into it. Fleetwood Mac has only ever had one song reach #1 spot in the Billboard charts, despite their plethora of hits like The Chain, Rhiannon, and Landslide, to name a few. And having millions of records sold, the only song that ever topped Billboard's Hot 100 was Dreams in 1977. Stevie Nicks wrote the song in 1976, which was just over a year after joining the band, showing how crucial she would be to Fleetwood Mac's success. There have been at least 14 members who have come and gone in Fleetwood Mac. Since the band formed in 1967, there has been numerous departures, firings, and hirings, which can get confusing. Mick Fleetwood and John McVie are the only members from the original lineup that are still part of the band. With such different lineups over the years, Fleetwood Mac has experienced many ups and downs with their fame and success. Their peak arguably occurred when members Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham joined in late 1974. And as the band would come to produce fan-favorite albums like Fleetwood Mac, their second eponymous album, and Rumours. The members of Fleetwood Mac had a code for drugs. In the 1970s, the prime of their career, the band was consuming large amounts of cocaine, which would cause friction in the future. But they actually had a musical code for the drug for when someone wanted a hit. Mick Fleetwood recounts in his autobiography that the band members and even the studio engineers would hum the tune of Chariots of Fire movie theme to indicate they wanted cocaine. The band has lived together in one house during two different periods. Both times were in the early 70s, with the first being at Mick Fleetwood's mansion. They also bought a house together in the English countryside in 1970. However, John McVie, the band's bassist, said they only managed to work for a couple of weeks and spent the rest of the time drinking and doing drugs. Jeremy Spencer, the band's original guitarist, quit Fleetwood Mac to join a cult. In 1971, after playing on the group's first 4 albums, Spencer quit and joined a religious cult called the Children of God, which is now called the Family International. Mick Fleetwood tried to convince him to rejoin, but he couldn't get Spencer on board. He is still part of this cult today. The whole band has never appeared on a cover for a studio album together. Since their start in 1967, Fleetwood Mac has released 17 studio albums, and not a single one has a cover with the whole lineup on it. Their early album covers are usually paintings or photographs, and in their later years, covers only had a few members of the band on it, but never all of them. Fleetwood Mac is notorious for the numerous relationships and affairs that occurred during their time together. But especially in the 1970s, Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham joined Fleetwood Mac together and were dating, but Nicks went on to have an affair with Mick Fleetwood while he was ending his marriage after finding out his wife was cheating on him. Christine McVie and John McVie were married, but Christine was sleeping with the band's lighting director, and the two eventually divorced. This caused a lot of drama amongst the band, and it was primarily happening during the recording of Rumours, which happened to be the band's most successful album and one of the most successful albums of all time. They re-entered the US charts in 2018 thanks to a meme on Twitter. In April 2018, their 1977 single Dreams re-entered the US Billboard Hot Rock Songs chart, getting all the way up to number 16. This resurgence in popularity was due to a meme posted on Twitter with the caption, "Fleetwood Mac's music is so boring you can't even dance to it," followed by "Me, an intellectual." Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham were recruited to join Fleetwood Mac by Mick Fleetwood, who visited the Sound City recording studio and asked to hear the most recent album that was recorded. The owner of the studio played Mick Frozen Love, which was Nicks and Buckingham's debut album. Fleetwood was particularly impressed by Buckingham's playing and initially only wanted to invite him to join the band. However, Buckingham refused to join without Nicks, which secured Fleetwood Mac's most notable lineup. They have sold over 120 million records worldwide, making them one of the world's best-selling bands of all time. They continue to attract listeners, both old and new, with albums like Rumours and Fleetwood Mac. thereby influencing modern pop music for more than 50 years. While representing the era of music in the 70s and the direction it could go, Fleetwood Mac's music still sounds fresh and remains incredibly relevant today, demonstrating that their impact on the music industry will never cease to grow. Well, that's all for today, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe, and you can follow us here, and I'll see you next time.